What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm just making a quick video because there's a couple updates to the coaching staff that I wanted to let you guys know about. So we talked about, I believe in my last video, at the beginning, I mentioned that John Embry was coming over as assistant head coach and tight ends coach, which I think is a really good move. Another move that was just made today is an addition to Mike McDaniel's coaching staff is who was it? It was Wes Welker is coming with him now, which I think is another great move. So it looks like the offensive coaching staff is really starting to build up and is starting to take shape and is looking really good. He's coming over as the wide receivers coach, which I think, makes sense and certainly should be a step up from what we had last year with Grizzard, who, especially for the first half of the season, couldn't figure out how to use Waddle to save their lives. So, I like that move. That's an awesome move. One move that's not so good though, although maybe it could be just, the prelude to some other stuff potentially happening, and if some of those other things do potentially come to fruition, then it won't be so bad. But there are reports out today that the Dolphins have actually fired defensive backs coach Gerald Alexander. So, I mean, even I don't really like that move, honestly. I love him. He's an up and coming, star in the league as far as coaching. I mean, he gets a lot of praise. He's got a lot of respect around the league. He's definitely rising in the ranks. Now, it is possible, because I did mention that he was interviewing for, I believe, the defensive coordinator position for the Jags. So maybe it just means that he's going to the Jags. But even if that's the case, you don't actually have to fire the dude before he takes that job. He just signs a new contract, gets an upgrade in position, right? Because he would go from a position coach to a defensive coordinator, and then it would just void the contract with the Dolphins. He would get a new contract with them. I mean, I'm pretty sure they don't. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they don't have to officially fire the guy. And then the other thing is right, because maybe it is just a prelude to him going to Jacksonville, though. And then also maybe it's a prelude to there actually being some changes on the defensive side of the ball. And maybe a guy like Vic Fangio is going to come in, which I think would be awesome. And I do think that would be an upgrade, generally speaking, over Boyer as defensive coordinator. But you're likely then to have to make some changes, throughout the rest of the defensive coaching staff, which I don't think would be an issue with Vic Fangio. But even if Vic Fangio was to come in, I don't see any reason why you couldn't keep Gerald Alexander, unless, of course, maybe he's going to go be the defensive coordinator at the Jags and take that, promotion, right? So, I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, there's still going to be, some more changes to the coaching staff, and I will keep you guys updated on all of that as it progresses. But, a little bit of good news, obviously, with Wes Welker, and a little bit of disappointing news, I guess, let's say, with Gerald Alexander. But again, if he ends up going to be the DC of the Jags and, or Vic Fangio ends up coming in, then those things would definitely offset it to a large degree. It'll still be disappointing no matter what, because I wish we could have kept him in-house, but it is what it is. Anyway, I am actually getting ready to watch the Mike McDaniel press conference. I have not watched it yet, his introductory press conference. I've only seen little tidbits from it to this point, but I just want to say before I do, man, it is really refreshing to have a coach. Look, I was on board with the Adam Gase signing, because the reasons why I was on board with it initially is because we finally had a coach that was going to believe in Ryan Tannehill, right? Like Mike McDaniel believes in Tua and will support him. So I love that, love that. But I also liked a lot of Gase's base philosophies when he was coming in. Now, I also liked some other things over the course of his tenure. Like, I like how he drafted guys. I did like the way that he was trying to shape the offense. Obviously, injuries kind of derailed that and some other things as well, and then obviously he got fired. But I did like the way that he was trying to. But when I say his base philosophies, I mean because during his tenure here, he didn't want to be a big spender in free agency, and they weren't going out signing the big names. And in fact, they did purge some of the big name contracts, and Ndamukong Suh actually being one of them at the time, right? And so along with some other players as well, good or bad, whether you disagree with it or agree with some of those moves, right? They didn't want to be, and that's my philosophy too. I like to just supplement in free agency. Generally, I'm not going to go, generally speaking, there are some minor exceptions. This offseason's actually going to be one of them when it comes to like offensive tackle. I'd be willing to spend big money on a premier talent and a proven guy, right? But anyway, generally speaking, I just like to supplement through free agency and then build through the draft. And that was his. He also liked to pay guys in-house when they perform. So the kind of contract extensions they gave were to players that were already here in the building, so they didn't have to be big spenders in free agency, and they just gave him a bump in pay, right? Those are the kinds of things. Now, again, he wasn't perfect, but those were some of the things I did like. However, even Adam Gase wasn't as personable, or as, humorous as Mike McDaniel is. And, Mike McDaniel is a really easygoing guy. Like, I didn't personally have an issue with Adam Gase's style when it came to like addressing the media. Like, I felt like he was a real no nonsense. Like, I'm not going to take the bullshit. Like, you can frame the questions however you want, but I'm going to just keep it real and stuff. Anyway, I know he was a bit prickly. I can be a bit prickly, so I kind of understand him, and I perceived his prickliness to be more of just, I'm, going to stand firm in my principles and stand my ground to people, as opposed to him being a douchebag. But I suppose that's up for debate. Either way, though, the point is that Mike McDaniel is not that. He's a really personable kind of guy. He seems easily likable, which is also been shown by the kind of testimony that you see from players of his, former players and stuff like that, other coaches and whatnot. So, and he's funny. He's cracking jokes all the time. And so it's fun, man. It's a good time. And honestly, I started off in Brian Flores. I watched some of his press conferences at the beginning, right? And way in the beginning when, but after the Kenny Still stuff and whatever, I very rapidly soured on watching his press conferences because they were boring. They didn't fucking say anything. You got no information out of it. He's not really all that great at public speaking. And then there was all the constant fucking lies and bullshit and everything, right? But all of that does not exist with Mike McDaniel. So I'm actually looking forward to watching press conferences of his, because I feel like you're actually going to get information. There's still going to be a level of coach speak for sure, and you're not always going to be able to say everything, especially when it comes to game planning and, specifics of this and that and the other, right? But he's not going to needlessly fucking keep us all in the dark of who's the play caller. In fact, as another report I saw is that apparently he's going to be the play caller. Now, people had an issue with that when it was Adam Gase calling the plays on offense. Dolphins fans hated that. So, I would like to think that people keep the same energy. I personally didn't have an issue with it, but you would like to see people keep the same energy, and the people who had a problem with it back then should theoretically, philosophically at least, have a problem with it now. Although I don't see an issue with it, and as long as they're successful, I especially don't see an issue with it. So, and he seems to be a very creative guy on that side of the ball, etc. So, but anyway, it's exciting. It's good times. And hopefully, man, like I said, right now at this stage of things, I am in the cautious optimism stage for myself because they still haven't actually proven anything yet, right? And they still have a way to go in that department. It's like day one still, and like I'm literally just about to go watch his introductory press conference, right? So they still got a long way to go, but I am optimistic. I know people give me this label of being Mr. Negativity and all that stuff, but honestly, I'm just keeping it real with people. And it's funny because now at the end of the Brian Flores regime, right, in the era or whatever, Brian Flores era, people are saying all the same things I've been saying for 3 years about him and how he fucking sucked as a leader and all this, that, and the other. He was a douchebag, whatever. People are finally saying after 3 years of me fucking getting hate for it, that Stephen Ross is a major issue. Now, to be fair, he may have actually made a really good decision with this Mike McDaniel hire. That doesn't necessarily mean that all of his issues in general with the dysfunction and so on and so forth are solved, but it could finally be, a step in the right direction. So I am optimistic. And it's funny though, because if I was actually doing my channel, because I started my channel at the back of 2018. If I was doing my channel through the Adam Gase era, I would have been one of the dudes who was a lot more optimistic. Of course, I would have gotten hate from Dolphins fans then too, because I would have been optimistic about Gase and I would have been looking on the bright side of the things that were going on. And, I would have been defending him for things that were not in his control, right? Because people wanted to blame him for a hurricane fucking making us miss our first game and, having no bye week and blah, 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 right? So like everything that happened that one season, right? None of that shit's his fault, but people wanted to blame him for it. So Dolphins fans would have hated me then, but it would have been different. My tone would have been different because my tone would have been coming from the more positive side. But that's just my honest evaluation of it. So it is going to, people will see a noticeable change in my tone, but it's not really it's not really a switch from me being negative to positive all of a sudden. It's just me having a different evaluation of the context and circumstance of the Miami Dolphins because some of the variables have changed, right? Flores is gone. Bye-bye all that toxicity. Now, the organization still has a long way to go in proving that they've that they're going to be able to overcome all of the fucking past 10, 20 years of dysfunction, etc. But I do think that they stand a good chance. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that I did see, one of the little clips I saw of his press conference today is, he said about the past 20 years, look, all of that's irrelevant. I mean, I kind of disagree with that just from the simple perspective of obviously the past is what we have to learn from and, that's where the track record is. And so, that's what you have to go off of as evidence for your evaluations for the future. But again, the variables have changed and I do like what he means in that response, meaning that, look, bro, it is what it is. That's the past. We're going to learn from the mistakes. We're going to, we acknowledge it. We understand it. We're going to learn and we're going to grow from it. But none of that really has any bearing on now because it's different now. I'm here, right? Blah, 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 blah. So we have an opportunity to change it. And that's what I'm hoping for. And that's what I'm optimistic for. So anyway, with that, let me wrap it up because I just wanted to, like I said, keep this kind of short. I wanted to give you guys those updates and then also, spit a little bit of, love and optimism for the new homie. I love him. And especially because, I'm 32. I'm about to be 33. He's what, like 30, 38, I think. So we're close in age. I'm not quite sure if he would fall into the millennial category, the millennial generation. I'm not sure if he's like on the border or whatnot, but we're close in that regard. And obviously, like he's a younger dude. He's a little bit more hip, right? And it's fun. It's a good time. So anyway, again, excitement. There is excitement. It's the first time in a while that like I've watched clips. Again, I pretty much stopped I didn't even fucking watch like Brian Flores press conferences for like year 2 and year 3. I stopped after like year 1 because I just couldn't take it anymore. But it's gonna be fun to watch these ones, man, because he's a cool dude. So I'm pumped for it. And yeah, man, let's keep it rolling. But anyway, with that, I am going to wrap this up. Before I get out of here, make sure you check out the Rave On Sports App, the new fan-driven sports app for all of your sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, college, whatever you like, they got it. And they are looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play coverage, live chats with other fans and content creators like myself, while also providing you with an arena to dispute all of the terrible officiating. So make sure you look for the links to that in the description box. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. Of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro, as well as on Instagram at Dolphins_with_Dillon. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.
Miami wins it.